Hi, good afternoon, or good morning, good evening, everyone. This is Judy from Kiloview. Welcome to our webinar and thanks for joining us today. Especially, I would appreciate if it's really late or is quite early for you. Before we start, let me ask you a question. Have you been waiting for the RF02 for long? And you remember we announced it at IBC 2024. So if your answer is yes, now I'm happy to tell the wait is over and our Cradle Series RF02 is ready for shipping. We actually have done a lot of trade shows, road shows since the announcing. And always, the RF02 is the shining star. But we know the RF02 is not really a single box. I can hear from our partners, our customers, giving us a lot of suggestions, asking about all kinds of questions. And of course, actually there are some kind of changes since the launching, which actually need our clarification. And that's why we would like to use this opportunity to share you all the details. So let's come to today's webinar. Today we are going to cover the background of why we developed the RF02, what are unique with the features, functions, benefits, who will need it, as well as a walkthrough of the RF02 user interface, together with our launching promotion. If any questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A, and I will try my best to help you covering all the details. At the same time, our product team, our technical team, sales team, and even our CTO, Jacob, are all online. They will hear you. Okay, then let's move to the first part. Let's talk about the background, why we designed the RF02. So before we directly talk about the reasons, let's just imagine if you are going to set up a studio like what we are doing now, in the company, doing live streaming, we're using AV over IP. What kind of products will need? I think at least you will need a network switch, a few encoders or decoders, and also depending on what kind of technologies are you going to use, if the video is all local or it's remote. And also, just thinking probably you will need the bridge, different technologies, which means either the media gateway, or you probably will need some kind of software products running on the computer to get the workflow complete, if it's relatively a professional production. But just imagine how the site will look like. So you probably can see the photo. Of course, if you use AV over IP is better, but at least there will be quite a lot of network cables, IP addresses, configurations, separate web UI, even if you use the Kiloview products. We provide you the centralized management platform like our Kilolink Server Pro. You still need to run a server, and not to say if you are using different products, different platforms, that will be a mess. So here, let's think about the pain points. First, of course, is very costly. Thinking how much you are going to pay for a professional network switch, a rack mount frame, the cards or the devices inside, and also you need to invest for a computer. And it's also very time consuming. If you calculate how much time you probably will need to spend on setting up the network switch, the configurations, IP addresses, logging, and also each card you are going to connect with different devices. You also need to jump from here, there, through different platforms, different UI, and everything will be time consuming, which means money, and also space consuming. Just imagine if you it's in your OB van or your data center, you have very limited spaces. And if you want to set up a complete workflow, at least you will need one U for your network switch, another 5, 6 U for your workflow up to like 18 cars for encoding, decoding, conversion, the server, and also depends on the density of the units you are going to use. So for Kiloview as a company, we do a lot of trade shows. We set up trade shows. We do events like now we are doing the webinar. We help our customers setting up their studios for different applications. We know what's painful. And also that's where the idea of designing a product like the RF02 originated. We want the products to be really highly integrated as a kind of a unified media center that combines network parts, the management parts, and together with all the possible functions you are going to use, such as the encoding, decoding, conversion, transcoding, other functions, everything in a single, compact, and a powerful unit with less cables, less configuration setup. It's just a plug and play. And that comes our RF02. So actually, our goal is to make the RF02 your studio, and when you carry it to your studio, or you just bring it to your OB van, it's already everything in it. And let's take a look. So you probably have already seen that the RF02, the first glance, is quite compact, right? It's compact, and also we designed with up to 18 car slots with a redundant power supply, and also the display showing the status, cooling, and everything inside. But actually, there are differences, and let's explore more. The first and the most importantly is not just the frame. It has integrated high bandwidth network switch inside. As we know, the biggest challenge in AV over IP is always the network part. We also know AV engineers are not necessarily IP engineers. So common requests from our customers are always making it easier. So the RF02 actually has a built-in high bandwidth network switch. The internal connection of each card is through the PCIe to the internal network parts with up to either iGig or 1 gig or 2.5 gigabits in bandwidth, which means you actually don't need to wire every card, every encoding or decoding card with a boring cable to the external network switch. So it's all internally connected, making it neat and easy. And also the external connection to your core switch is with up to 3 10 gigabits SFP, and also 1 10 gigabit RJ45 Ethernet ports, which means that's high bandwidth, and also it can be aggregatable. So even if you are going to run the high bandwidth NDI with multicast, there will be no bottleneck. As actually the internal network switch has up to 120 gigabits capacity. And of course, inside the RF02 is actually the professional switch. It has the complete function. It can provide you a very professional interface. It supports the VLAN, DHCP, and all the advanced settings. And also the network management, in order to make it easier, is seamlessly integrated through the web UI of the RF02, just the same as our device management. So everything is already done if it's just for basic operation. So it's quite simple for your quick management. And then let's talk about UI, as we already mentioned that. Another unique point of the RF02 is actually we have integrated a very strong processor inside of the units. Actually, can support the centralized management with our Kiloview Server Pro. The main processor actually is 8-core ARM64 CPU, which can work as a server to run the optimized, the customized version of our Kiloview Server Pro. So when talking about Kiloview Server Pro, if you are familiar with Kiloview, you probably know it can support the centralized management. So that makes sense, right? With the internal processor, it can easily manage all the 18 service cards inserted inside of the RF02 through a unified platform. And all the configuration, the network settings, status monitoring, as well as the firmware upgrading, everything are all streamlined. Just a few clicks through the same unified platform. And also based on the KiloLink technology, which is connecting all the Kiloview products together, it's also possible to manage the sources internally inside of the RF02 to achieve the result of better reliability, lower latency, and everything possible. The sources can be seamlessly routed from the encoding card to the decoding card, and also from the decoding card side, it will automatically discover the available sources list, and directly you can just say, okay, output. And further in our updates, we will add a kind of control panel that can easily route the sources and also destinations. Additionally, talking about the customized KiloLink Server Pro inside of the RF02, it can also be used as a server to manage all the other Kiloview products, which means this one, the RF02, can also work as a host server for centralized management. And of course, for our further updates, we'll add more functions like simultaneous manage more RF02s together for larger scale applications. So there will be more functions added. Another point I would like to mention is about the modularized design. So when you look at the RF02, it's fully modular, which means you can customize your workflow according to your needs. So with up to 18 different cards slots, so you can insert different cards inside. You can mix and match the cards for different purposes. At the back of the RF02, we actually numbered 18 card slots. So also on the UI, you can see which card slots you have inserted, which cards, and easily manage that. Inside of the 18 card slots, actually, we have 2 slots actually can support the high bandwidth processing, the number 1, number 2, and the rest 16 of them actually just for normal 1 or 2.5 gig for our basic transmission, encoding, decoding. That we of course reserve the possibilities for further video production or mixing using the high bandwidth slots. And not just the cards. We actually have, actually we actually have all those kind of possibilities to manage our different purposes, and also we have the processor and also the network switch or modularized design, which means you can even replaceable and also removable, and also the redundant power supplies. So everything is highly integrated, modularized design to make sure of the reliability, while also making it easier to do the maintenance. So even if there is any kind of failure or any kind of the switch or the processor is having any kind of problems, you don't actually really need to replace the whole units. And even inside of the units, the controlling part, the cards, everything is removable. So at least for the after sales support parts, we actually can save a lot of shipping costs and making it easier to do the maintenance. But as a kind of standard configuration, you don't need to worry about, everything will be included, including the network switch, the processor, KiloLink server, and also the power supplies, everything included when you purchase it. And then talking about car slots, and then of course we'll talk about the cars. So there will be a few different options for the RF02. Currently, we already have 4 different cards, including our encoding card, decoding card for the 12G SDI or 4K HDMI, and which are, of course, our FM50 and FM60. And also we have the media gateway card, the FMG400, and also the compute card. So I will introduce the cards one by one. And for the encoding and decoding parts, the FM50 and the FM60, so both of the cards are bidirectional, encoding, decoding cards, high-end broadcast quality, all in one card. Especially, this is specially designed for the RF02 based on our flagship N50 and N60 converters. And let's take a look. So, the FM50, of course, is a 12G SDI version, and FN60 is the HDMI version. And here, what I'm holding is the FN60. So you can see it has the HDMI inputs, loop through or output when decoding, and also the PCIe for the internal network connection, as well as we still reserve the RJ45 Ethernet port for external network, just in case you want to use the external network switch, or actually we can support different functions like, our N60, you can use separate functions for streaming, for management. And both the FN50 and the FN60 can support NDI HX encoding and decoding, bidirectional with HDR422 10 bits. NDI bridge is already included inside. Our next release, we can also support the high bandwidth NDI with HDR, and also, we keep updating with the most advanced technologies, and even in the long run, we will have the ultra low latency or everything included in the FN50 and the FN60. And not only for NDI, can support all the IP protocols. As we mentioned, SRT, RTMP, RTSP, UDP, HLS, everything, more different protocols all together. And also, the existing functions like our recording through this one, through NAS, and also the PDZ control and all the basic functions, everything will be included, same as our N50 and the N60. And, together with centralized management through the internal RF02, so either you are doing the media streaming, remote transmission, or distribution, or anything, you put FN50, FN60 together with the RF02, it's already a high quality solution for your workflow. And for the transcoding and the protocol conversion, and also bonding, let's talk about the FMG400. The FMG400 media gateway card actually is designed to bridge different IP technologies, as well as we flexibly adapt your different workflows for different applications. In general, we can say the media gateway card can include all kinds of functions for transcoding, protocol conversion, video formats conversion for up-down scaling, resolution conversion, as well as the bonding service. So first, let's talk about the gateway function. So, there will be quite a lot of possible applications if you use the FMG400 for the conversion. Just for example, if you want to bring the RTSP camera video, just local video to remote transmission, or if you want to bring the SRT sources inside of your NDI studio for your production, or if you already have a PDZ camera that output NDI HX only, but your production system can only take high bandwidth NDI. Or if your software actually outputs high bandwidth NDI and you want to output and transmit the video over internet, what should you do? I believe previously you will need to run a software like the NDI bridge, right, on a computer, or you will need to put 2 different devices together, and now the FMG400 can handle everything. The FMG 400 actually, you see from the interfaces, doesn't have any kind of physical interfaces. It's pure IP to IP. And actually, it also has the 1 gigabit network connector through the PCIe. Maximum, it can support up to 1 channel 4K or 4 channel of the HD video transcoding from high bandwidth NDI to H.264, H.265, but also the H.264 to H.265 or vice versa. Or it can support like 3 channels of HD, H.264, H.265 to high bandwidth NDI, or maybe more, possibly. So please just note, due to the performance of the chipsets, it cannot support 4K H.264, H.265 means like NDI HX or SRT to high bandwidth NDI. So it can support multiple protocol conversion between like our HX, SRT, RTSP, RTMP, and all those H.264, H.265 codec, but different protocols cross conversion up to more than 30 channels. It can also support the resolution, frame rate conversion, and also the audio conversion between the NDI audio to the other IP audio, like the existing AAC, G711. And I know you probably will ask about other IP audio. More will be added to the FMG 400, but for the launching, right now it's only NDI, AAC, G711, that's the existing ones. And next, let's talk about the bonding. This is something I especially want to mention. Actually, that's also a little bit different as we initially claimed, or initially when we designed the products. Previously, we want everything to be integrated, including the bonding functions through the controller of the CPU of the RF02. Actually, after our development testing, we just find, if you want to connect more P3 or the P3 mini to the RF02 directly, while at the same time, we want to manage up to 18 cards, and considering, the possible routing signals inside of the RF02, and also, of course, we don't want to sacrifice the reliability. And then we just realized probably that's not really a good solution. And we decided to add the bonding function on the FMG 400 as a supplement. So what you can do is just, switch between the gateway modes or the bonding mode on the UI. So there will be 2 options for you. And with the bonding mode, the P3 will be connected to the RF02 first, just similarly like, adding the device to the Kiloview Server Pro. And with the help of the FMG 400, when switching to the bonding mode, the FMG 400 can be worked as the server. And each FMG 400 can support up to 4, 5, or even more P3s for the bonding. Receiving depends on, of course, how many streams you are going to use, and also what's the bit rate you are setting. And if you want to output the SDI or HDMI to the baseband, to your production system, the traditional production system, you can also choose the FN50 or FN60 decoding card inserted into the RF02 for the output. We don't want to add any kind of confusion, but very honestly, the FMG 400 is not really very strong for the high bandwidth NDI processing, especially when we are saying the output of a high bandwidth NDI. So now, if you have this kind of application, specifically want this kind of, getting H.264, H.265 to high bandwidth NDI, and specifically 4K, we are open to any kind of ideas, suggestions, so we can work together for a different solution. Next, I think that's also a kind of exciting part, the compute card. As we said, the idea for the RF02 is to provide a complete workflow for your studio, and also for like your OB-van, your EFP systems. Then if we only have the chassis, putting the transmission or conversion parts, actually it's not really a complete workflow. So if you want to really get a complete one, and based on the IP technologies, sometimes we always need to use software systems running on the computer. And then we're thinking, why not add a computer inside of their RF02? And then the workflow can be expanded to unlimited, right? So actually, the first compute card, the FXC A8600, is powered by a kind of a high performance processor from AMD. So just notice that this compute card actually will take 2 slots inside of the RF02, and considering of all those kind of heat dissipation, and also consider of the power supply and network bandwidth and all those problems, maximum you can put up to 4 compute cards inside of the RF02. That's, I think 4 is already enough, right? It's already a lot. Just imagine you put such a compact unit inside of the RF02, put 4 computers inside this compact unit. It can do quite a lot of things. And also, I think for the compute card, when we show the concept at NAB, I know there will be a lot of questions. We already received a lot of questions, like we are asked about the operation system, how it would work with the RF02, and also, quite a lot different questions. But in general, just imagine this is a computer. And in general, this compute card actually has 2 options with the operation system based on what kind of software you are going to run, either Linux or Windows. So you can choose which operation system you would like, with different prices, of course. And when you order it, you can talk to our partners which operation system you would like to use, you need, and they can customize it accordingly. And also for each version, there will be a software kit available. So that means if you buy our compute card, you will get the free Kiloview software kits. So it doesn't need any kind of license. It's just insert it, skip the license, and the software kits could include our NDI core, our multi-viewer, our KS for intercom, and more to come. We are also open to the third-party software, different companies, who can run it based on our specification. Currently, we have done some tests with some companies like the audio, the management, and more can be added, of course. And on the web UI of the RF02, we would realize the unified UI entry for different software systems. Currently, the compute card is still in development and also in the testing process. More details can be shared, and especially the performance with different software systems running on it. Please just stay tuned with us. And we already mentioned all those above mentioned cars. The FM50, FM60, FMG400 will be shipping on the 16th June, and the compute card will be planned for Q3. And of course, we will plan to develop more other cards like our multi-view card, our cost-effective encoding and decoding cards. And if you are thinking of any specific workflows, any specific products, or any software that you want to run on the RF02 based on our compute cards, welcome to comment. And also our product team will collect all the feedbacks, all the suggestions, and we will evaluate the feasibility. Last part, let's talk about the reliability and also the operation. So as we mentioned, we built the RF02 for mission critical environments. So reliability is always very important. And we designed this for 24/7 operation. Previously, we mentioned the modularized design, which means, everything is replaceable, everything is removable, which actually can also increase the reliability. And inside of such a high density units, heat problem is also very critical. So you can see from the front of the RF02, we actually have 5 cooling fans in front, and also making sure the cooling efficiency is very high, and automatically the fan speed can be adjustable. It's automatically adjusted according to the temperature inside. And also we have the hot swappable redundant power supplies included, just making sure there will be no downtime. And also for the operation side, so you probably can see on the front, we also have the LCD panel for quick operation. So it's a 3-inch LCD panel, just showing the status, showing the basic information, the car slots, and all those basic configurations. And you can also use the physical button for the quick and the intuitive operation. And if bringing the web UI, the unified platform for the management together, the operation is really, really simple. Okay, I think I have covered quite a lot, and that's the first part, talking about the basic features and all those functions. And before we dive deep into the UI of the RF02, I believe our partners, especially our sales team, from our partners or our system integrators, will think about, who will need it, what makes the RF02 inevitable, and also how we can actually introduce the RF02 to the customers. And here are some highlights. First, let's talk about who will buy the RF02. So actually, based on what we discussed, we can see the RF02 can be turned to be different combinations. First, if you put up to 18 encoding or decoding card inside of the RF02, it can be a multiple channel video encoder. Also, you can just making it to create a very powerful 18 channel 4K UHD super video encoder. And even without changing the cards, you just switch the mode. It can also be a multiple channel video decoder with high performance, 18 channel, 4K with HDMI 2 or 12G SDI output for your NDI, SRT, or any of the IP protocols decoding. It can also be a hybrid of the encoding and decoding, so you can simultaneously taking the videos in, outputs as a kind of hub center. And it can also be a P-series decoding gateway. So if you pair the FM50, FM60 cards together with our FMG400, it can be turned to be a wireless bonding receiver with up to 15 channels outputs, either to SDI or HDMI together with 3 FMG400. Or it can be a media format conversion hub for multiple video formats, protocol, or transcoding conversion using the FMG400. And also, it can be NDI multi-viewer, it can be a router, switcher, just based on our upcoming, like the compute cards, and together with all the other cards, just provide unlimited possibilities for your workflow. So then let's talk about who will need it. First, and the most common application would definitely be for the broadcast users. Either they are just trying to receive the bonding signals as a bonding receiver, or connect the studio for easy setup, interconnectivity, or they want to connect from the field cameras to the studios. A system like RF02, putting everything together would be a good choice. And also, the RF02 would definitely be perfect for the OB-WAN users because of the space saving, less cables, and also high efficient integration, making everything easier. And not just for that, I have to say customers in corporate, in conference, in education, governments, if they want to set up a small studio for quick operation easily with less cables, then the RF02 is a production and streaming solution for them to start up. And also I put a typical application scenarios here for the broadcast, using the RF02 in the middle, receiving the bonding signals, and also different encoder signals, routing it to the production systems, or doing the live streaming simultaneously. So this is very typical application. And of course, there will be more scenarios to share, but in our opinion, we have to say everyone is RF02. Next, why you should choose the RF02. Here I actually put a comparison chart, but it's just for your information, for your reference. There is no intention to say all the other products are not good and only the RF02 is the best. I have to say it's actually designed for different application. RF02 is especially designed for AV over IP applications, especially if you are using the IP for high capacity NBI workflow. So let's first look at the price. So the price is actually the US MSRP. Different territories probably price will varies. But if you compare the price, probably you can see maybe the RF02 is a little bit higher priced. But if you check what's included inside of the RF02, as I explained, it's not just the frame. It includes the network parts, the controlling parts, power supplies, all in one. So if you calculate how much extra you are going to spend, then you probably can see you are saving a lot, right? And all the others are, just following the advantages we mentioned. We're having the network switch inside, so there will be less cables. We have the processor inside, then there will be unified UI, simple operation, and all those together, making the RF02 a unique product on the market, and also with a lot of selling points. So, okay, then I think I have spent a lot of time to share the details. And next, let's show you a pre-recorded walkthrough video of how the RF02 the interface looks like and how it can work together with our cars, the FM50, FM60, FMG 400. Okay, first, let's log into the web UI of the RF02 by entering the username and password. Once logged in, you will see a clean and informative dashboard. With the dashboard, you can see all the essential details from the card inserted in each slot to the status of the network and also the basic information of the RF02. Let's check more of the details. On top of the RF02, there is a menu showing Home, Manage, User, Firmware, Log for quick operation, while at the right corner, you can also use Settings and also the user management, as well as for language switching. We will show you all the details of each part. First, the home page. By default, it shows the overview of the RF02 status. You'll find the current network connections to the external core network switch, showing if the network ports, the Ethernet ports or the SFP ports are connected or not, with the uplink and downlink status, and also the main processors, CPU, memory, and the system temperature information. And here, you will clearly see the 18 card slots with the real-time status. Green light means they are all up and running. If you click any card, then it will show each card status showing like the IP address, the stream status, CPU, memory usage, and also temperature of each card. Down to the bottom in this section, it will also show the device status in groups by card types, encoding, decoding, gateway, and bonding in different modes. So you can drill down easily. Now, let's move to the most powerful part of the RF02, the centralized management. Like I said earlier, one of the biggest advantages of the RF02 is the centralized management function. Through the integrated Kilolink server Pro, specially designed for the RF02, you can easily manage, configure, and upgrade all your cards with just a few clicks. Over on the left panel, this is the area where you can quickly manage all your devices and directly enter into the device UI. While on the right part, you can see more details with source information and status information using as a dashboard and also the control center. Let's start from the left. You will see all your connected cards inserted into the RF02. If you want them to be organized, just click the three dots and create a new group. Name it to conveniently manage all the devices you want. If it's already a folder, there you can also click the three dots to either move it, rename it, delete it, or add a new folder under the category. On the right, you also see all the devices connected to the RF02. You can generally see the basic info of the device name, or you can rename it by clicking the Edit button, showing the working mode, and also you can quickly switch the working mode by clicking it. If it's online or it's not, the IP address and all the other basic information, you can also click the Filter button to configure which information you want to display or hide it. Through this interface, you can also add device to connect to the RF02. For example, if you want to add a P3 to the RF02, you can simply add a P3 to be connected, and the RF02 can work as your centralized management server to manage your other devices. And if you click this icon, it will directly get you to the web UI of the card or the devices. Let's click on this FN60. It will bring you to the FN60 web UI. You probably can see how it looks like. It's almost the same as our N60 encoder. So you can configure the video, audio parameters, preview the video, switch between the encoding or decoding mode, etc. And if you click the three dots, then it enables you to assign the IP, move this card to different groups, or reset or restart for quick operation as well. At the same time, if you select one card, the assign IP and also the firmware upgrade will be enabled. And you can either modify the IP by DHCP or by manual. Or you can upgrade the firmware by adding a firmware through the firmware menu. And if you multiple select the cards with the same model, you can also update the cards in batch. And there is also a maintain dropdown. So you can reset and restart all these cards selected as well. So on top right, you can see the cards are already classified. You can easily select the encoding, decoding, media gateway, and bonding to quickly find the products with detailed information and the status. If you jump to the encoders, you can view all the active encoders with the detailed information of the video and also the audio inputs, the formats, the codec using, and quickly you can see the encoders are outputting what kind of protocol streams, and you can quickly copy the address. To modify the configurations, click this button on the right for additional settings. For decoders, it's the same. It will automatically detect the available sources in the RF02 or the devices connected to the RF02, and you can quickly click this button to decode and output, or you can press the add button to add it to the presets. As previously, we talked about the FMG400 media gateway card, which has two modes, the gateway mode and the bonding mode. So here for the FMG400, you can flexibly switch between the two modes. In the gateway mode, it performs transcoding and the protocol conversion for streaming. Simply, you can add the output, you can choose the source from the source list, the output protocol, and also the necessary information, save it, and you have finished the conversion. If you have added a few outputs and inputs, You can also create a control panel, and easily you can switch and routing the sources in and out through the device menu as well. In the bonding mode, the FMG400 actually just acts as a bonding receiving server for our P-series bonding encoders. But please note, in the bonding mode, it's just acting as a bonding service. All the management is still through the RF02 for device management. The operation is, first you will need to add the P3 and the P3 mini through add device, connect the P3 with the RF02 first, entering into the P3 interface, choose the bonding mode, add the RF02 as the bonding server until you get the P3 online, and everything else will be the same as you connect the P3 with our Kiloview Server Pro. And next, the users. And here under the user menu, you can handle the user accounts, you can create the groups, manage the accessibility, and also the permissions for each user. And for the firmware parts, you can upload all the firmware files for all the different models. And in the system settings, you can directly dispatch the firmware to different devices for batch upgrades and also easy management. Here in the logs, you will be able to check all the logs for each device, and also you can download the logs as well. Head to the settings. You can do the additional controls like the system, time adjustment, language preference, schedule SIMs, schedule system reboots, firmware updates, network settings, and also the switchboard aggregation settings and more. For network configuration parts, this is to configure the IP address of the RF02, including if it's DHCP or manual IP obtain. And there is another option of the switchboard, which is for the network aggregation of the SFP to expand the network bandwidth for the RF02. Now, it supports the 3 10 gigabits SFP aggregation to make the RF02 maximize to be 30 gigabits outputs. Welcome back. I hope the deep dive of the RF02 actually can answer more of your questions. And at the same time, please keep dropping your questions in the Q&A window. And I actually can see in the chat window you have already got a lot of questions. And then I will later check all those questions and then get you an answer. And the next actually comes to our exciting part, the launching promotion. We highly appreciate all the support and the feedback from our partners like you. And in order to make sure everyone has the chance to be the first to experience the RF02, we are excited to announce that we will exclusively offer a 10% off discount to any purchase of the RF02 with any combination. Either it's a FM50, FM60, or FMG400. There is no minimum purchase, directly 10% off based on the MSRP. So no matter what kind of scenarios you are going to put the RF02 in, and this is the chance now to get the RF02 in your studio. Only available during the launching period, and it will only be valid until end of September. So please do seize the chance. So actually, there are a lot of contents if we really want to cover more details of the RF02. I believe I can talk a lot. But I just hope my explanation helped you to get a clearer idea of what the RF02 can do because of your contribute that makes Kiloview more successful. And it's an invitation. If you will be at InfoComm next week, welcome to join us in Orlando to find out more of the RF02. We will put the RF02 in live so you can hands-on, we can continue the discussion, we can share you more of like the possible application scenarios. And don't forget, we will be at 5381 booth, and we look forward This RF02 will help you to experience the next generation of the AV over IP workflow with ease. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everything. And see you next time. Bye.